What's going on YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be bringing you my OB12 tier list. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have to keep up with any future content, I will be leaving a link to my Twitch and my Discord in the description below. Whew! Now, couple caveats. This is primarily going to be for Conquest. Not really for any other game mode. And I am going to be incorporating the aspects as well. The other thing is that I want it known that I usually base my tier list off of flexibility, how difficult they are to play and pick up, and the viability from the beginning of the game to late game. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to the beginning of this and talk about Achilles. God, I am rambling. Achilles recently saw a buff. I think he's one of the better solo laners right now. I think he's definitely A tier. His stim got a massive buff, giving him more CD what is it, CC reduction, and the protection and power he gets off of it is just that flat I think between 10 to 20% for both protections and the strength buff. So I think that Achilles is definitely up there. I can't really say that he's S tier because even though he does come with an execute which is invaluable, it's too easy to body block and too easy to predict. So I think Achilles definitely deserves to be an A. More time is definitely going to be needed to see if he deserves to be an S. I don't think it's wrong to think he's S, but right now he's just A. Up next, we're going to talk about Agni. Without the aspect, he's B. With the aspect, he is, I would say A. He used to be S tier. I think he's definitely better than Achilles, but he used to be here in S because of the aspect. And the aspect is still dumb, but I will admit the crit multiplier now being gone did significantly hurt him. I don't think it hurt him enough to not play him, but he still does too much damage with the aspect version of his abilities. But without it, he's more B. So for sake of argument, I'm just gonna put him here for base. But if you're using the aspect, he's more like right here. Up next, Aladdin. Still the best, one of the best junglers in the game, if not the best. Dumb damage. Can't really fight him. Aggressive mobility. And only counterpicked by a handful of people. And only counterpicked by like maybe a handful of people, like Ares who has a cripple, or somebody who could stop him from moving. Or Ganesha, because Ganesha is really stupid right now. But Aladdin is definitely up there. Way too much damage, and the ability to lock one person down in a 1v1 or completely pull that person out from the fight and just stall is unbelievably stupid. So definitely there's gonna be an S. Matarasu, B. I would say C, but she does come with a silence, and her ult still does burn beads with a fairly low cooldown. And she is pretty flexible in the jungle, just not amazing out the jungle, because late game she just doesn't do enough damage quick enough to kill you. And out of solo lane, she's just hard counterpicked by too many people, especially characters like Bellona, who's better than her. And on top of that, can counterpick her. Like it's weird. So B. Up next on her, I think he's one of the best hunters in the game right now. Really amazing aspect and really amazing base kit, but the aspect version of it is just so much better. And I thought it was because, not having a protection shred on on the autos for on her felt a little bit alien until you realized that the attack speed you get from the aspect for constantly hitting somebody with your autos is insane. It dang near doubles your attack speed every time. So I think the only thing is with on her is that he is a little bit difficult to play. Most people who play the game are not just gonna be able to pick him up and play him, because knowing where to place your one, knowing how to use your two, and then using your run move aggressively, he's not the easiest guy in the world to play. So I think he definitely deserves to be an A once you master him, because the late game translation is just too crazy. Anubis. 1v1, he is broken. You are probably not going to beat him in a 1v1 unless you specifically counterpick him. However, as a whole, when the team fights starts to lose its value, because by that point, most of the enemy team is going to have anti-heal. They're going to be built, and they can one-shot you. Or they're just going to hard focus you every single time because you don't have any way to really protect yourself. But with that being said, because the lifesteal cap is at 75%, you can still build lifesteal on him and still comfortably heal back to full unless they have a Sobek or a Cerberus on top of the anti-heal. What I think Anubis' best role is right now, surprisingly speaking, is probably jungle because he can go full damage. He does have a single target stun and can delete somebody off the face of the earth, which is what his primary goal should be. And it'll be harder to focus him down because he's not in a lane for you to kind of just farm him. He's going to be constantly and then being constantly rotated on by somebody who has a stun can be annoying, a range stun at that. So I think Anubis, though, at the end of the day, is B. Not better than Agni. I think he's better than base Agni, but aspect Agni, absolutely not. But I think he deserves to be right about here. Aphrodite, I think is still a pretty decent support, but I do know that being a very successful Aphrodite does require you to have a little bit of communication with your team. Because the worst feeling in the world is ulting somebody to protect them and then realizing they had beads or Aegis. And now you just wasted your ult saving this person. Now the person to your right is dead. It happens. But if you do have that good communication with your team, I think she's A tier. If you don't, honestly, I think she's like right here. If you don't have good communication with your team, or you're still trying to build like a damage dealer out of support, or you have bad stun placements, or you have bad attachment placements, and you don't know how to manage the heal, I think she's C. No, I can't rightfully say that. I think she's B. Right here. Apollo, best hunter in the game. Bar none, I do not need to explain it. He is the best. Ares, I think he fell off a little bit. Even with the aspect on, it's just there's too many ways to counterplay him, and his primary job is to counterpick characters like Fenrir and Aladdin, so they can't move and they can't use their kits. However, he's not a good. I don't think he's an amazing support because he can't protect anybody. I don't think he's a great solo laner because he's not outclearing the person in front of him. I do think he's a kind of okay jungle when tank jungles were a thing, but now tank jungles have kind of got pushed to the wayside just a tad bit. And but the thing that does save him a little bit is the fact that building him like a tank gives you the most benefit and gives you a 100 power if you probably do it right, 100 magical power if you do it properly, and it's a team wide buff too, giving everybody strength. So I think Ares definitely deserves to be in B tier. I think he might. Yeah, he's still. Yeah, Ares is B tier. Artemis. Used to be A. I think she's more like B right about here. Because at the end of the day, her late game presence is still terrifying. And she does have a team-wide stun. And she's not using the aspect. She has a root that can sometimes in the heat of the moment be very, very hard to see. And even if you do see it, you have to path differently and cut your chase down time in half, or your runaway time in half, or mess up your placements of your abilities because you're going out of your way to avoid the trap. And if you don't avoid the trap and you just want to forehead your way through it, well, it still does damage. And again, it roots, and a good Artemis is going to see that and then blow you up for it. So, yeah, I think Artemis late game is crazy, but I don't know if it's worth it with all the headache you have to deal with from the early to mid game because, again, she still does not have a run move. And even though she has a slow and a slow immunity button, it doesn't stop people who are good at locking you down. So, B. Athena. I think she's an A tier support. She's good. She's really good right now. Global white ult, health shield, good taunt. Really easy to, well, not exactly easy to pick up and play, but pretty roll your forehead across the controller kind of easy. However, the thing that's really holding her back is her cooldowns. Her cooldowns are massively holding her back. If it wasn't for those cooldowns, she'd probably be an S tier. But because those cooldowns are kind of abysmal, A. A Willix, A tier. I don't think she's broken anymore. She's saw a really big amount of nerfs, and even though strength cards got buffed, it doesn't change the fact that she got nerfed almost every single patch. Almost every single patch she got touched. And the thing that makes her so good right now is the fact that she is the most mobile god in the game. But the second Mercury comes out, that's going to be over. She's not going to have that title. And then the only thing that really makes her even crazier is the fact that is her ult, because she can pull characters like Scylla and Hades out the ground, or stop somebody like on her or Aladdin from running away because they have leaps. So, and she pairs really well with characters like Ganesha right now because of somebody who has a knockup. So she has inherent value and can burst you down very easily, even out the jungle. But outside of that, if she's not, I wouldn't say she needs to play perfectly, but her engagements need to be better now that her damage got nerfed. So A tier. Bacchus, C tier. There's just no value in Bacchus. The knockup is the most valuable part about him, and even then, it's not even that scary. Because the knockup puts him in a bad situation. And even though he's going to be tanky when he goes in, the stun isn't scary either because you can CC him out of that. And the ult isn't scary because, yeah, it does damage, but that's about it. And the damage isn't even great. And the one is selfish because it only heals him. And yeah, it gives him power and protections, but who cares? Because the heal isn't big enough. So Bacchus, and the aspect is troll and it's fun. Melee auto attackers are just not good right now. For DPSs, so C, free. Baron, one of the best mages in the game. The aspect is absolutely ridiculous. There's a current meta where people are building like Doom Orb into Spirit Deso or like some kind of big power item. I think Baron actually goes against the grain with that too, and I like that because it makes it to where he does so much damage early with Hysteria that you don't need to build a damage item, a massive damage item early like Doom Orb. You can go a card like Chronos Pendant and get more value out of constantly proccing Hysteria. And once you hit level 7, every time you hit a root, they're going to be below 50% health. Every single time. If you combo them with the 3 into the 1 into the 2, or the 3 into the 2 into the 1, every single time you hit them at all with the root, they are going to lose half their health. Every single time. And that's at level 7 with Chronos at level 7. And then with a card like Chronos Pendant where you can do that more often, it's crazy. And then the fact that his ultimate's on like a 60-second cooldown, so he could just ult you because he feels like it, and then you can't beat. And then you have to beat to live. And then the next time you come back to that lane, you're dead. And there's literally nothing you can do about it unless you have a CC immune ult. So Baron is up there. I think his weakness right now is late game. Late game, he does struggle a little bit because his abilities do have a little bit of a casting time. But overall, Baron just does so much damage now that I think it's worth saying that he's one of the best mages. Bellona, a weird character because she does beat Amaterasu. And I know what I said earlier, but I don't think she's better than Amaterasu. But she has value because a 2-second disarm is insane, even on somebody who's ability based. But she also doesn't have any CC to be spoken of. But her ultimate is a single target stun that gives everybody a buff within it. But her late game is doo-doo butter. C tier. Bracken, I think he slept on. I don't think he's better than Athena. I think he deserves to be an A though, because Bracken's literal only weakness is that he can't close distance. That's his literal only weakness. Not by himself, at least. But there are now cards in the game that kind of make up for that. And that was kind of his issue back in Smite 1 too. Bracken was such a almost a complete character, but because he couldn't close the distance on you, it made him so much worse. But now a card like Cersei's Hexstone is in the game. Blink is still in the game. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be cheeky, Helm of Darkness is in the game. He can sneak up on you now. The Bracken Loki memes are real. And they beefed up his passive. So now, and he has Sustain now. but he's countered by two things. That is barrier and beats. If you and well, technically three things, and Mad Guy's Cloak. So if you have those three items on you, he will never be able to lock you down. But doesn't really matter because he still does have two stuns and a good amount of sustain and a cripple. Even though the cripple I don't think is good. So I think Cabraka definitely deserves to be an A. He's a very, very good solo laner, but he does struggle a bit. So I think he's an A. If Bruisers get nerfed at all again, he's probably going to drop down to B, but for me, he's A. Cerberus. At first, I wanted to put him in B because at first I didn't really believe in him. But now that I'm really thinking about it, I think Cerberus is really strong. I think that he's an amazing solo laner, and he has a stun. He has anti-heal built into his kit that heals him. With the aspect, he does a good amount of damage. You just got to play a little bit for the mid game. If you don't have the aspect, he has a good CC immune ult that forces the enemy team to either bead or get repositioned, and he's going to be inherently tanky. So I think Cerberus is really good. Definitely deserves to be an A. And plays really well into the sustain meta right now because again he has built-in anti-heal. Cernunos, I've been seeing a lot more people use him out the jungle because of the aspect because they saw how much damage it can do, but I don't think it's good enough because I just don't think Cernunos is good. Hunter's on a really, really, really bad spot right now. There's just no hunters are good besides like maybe one or two of them, and none of them are fun to play. I'll be 100% honest. None, besides maybe Apollo and On Her, but I'm a little biased. None of them are really fun to play, and the ones that are fun to play aren't good. And the ones and that's not to include a character like Neith because Neith is not a fucking hunter no more. She's a goddamn mage. So none of the hunters are really that amazing right now, and Cernos is no different. I think Cernos is B. Honestly, closer to C to be honest, because he doesn't have any CC immunity. Can't really outclaim. Yeah, he's C. Chalk, one of the best solo laners in the game. This is roll your face across the controller, the character, and profit. And when I mean profit because there's an AoE silence, massive damage. You can't kill him. Cooldowns are ridiculous. At both aspect and base version is good. And he's literally has not stopped being meta since the game has come out. His character's stupid. And and by the way, he has extra sustain now because now his passive that not only makes it to where his next ability doesn't cost any mana, but it also heals him. So yeah, there's that. And if you want mega sustain, you don't go the aspect, and they literally can't kill you unless they jump you. So yeah, Chalk's one of the best. He's S tier. Cupid went from being one of the best to kind of mid. I still think he does have some kind of value, but uh, aspect version sucks. The aspect version sucks right now. It's just not. It's not worth it. Base version is a little bit better, and he can do a very good amount of damage. But you can really say it about any hunter, and if a hunter's not doing damage to you, you kind of have a problem. But AoE ultimate that does damage and heals, and a stun, a group stun too if they're stupid enough to stand next to their teammates. So I think Cupid is still has some good value. It's just he's just not up there with somebody like Apollo and On Her who can kill you instantly. Cupid still does take a little bit of time. So I think that he is here. Danzaburo is one of those characters where like he's very dumb on paper, but we can kind of set it the best. If you're focused on killing him and nothing else, he does not have a way to protect himself. If you were committed to diving a Danzaburo, he's not going to be able to kill you unless he already has a million clones up, or you're just bad. You know what I'm saying? So I think Donza, and then the base version and the aspect version are both pretty good. The aspect version giving him better tower shred, while and a more ability based playstyle, kind of, while the regular version is just based Donza Burrow with a taunt. So I think he's right here. I definitely think yeah, I think he's like right about here. Fenrir. I've never seen a character be so bad and so good at the same time. Because the attack speed Fenrir hurts, but he gets nuked later on because he has to overcommit to his abilities. And if you go attack speed, his 3 is not going to hit as hard because he doesn't have an ability damage. And his ultimate is very easily beads, and his ultimate puts him in bad situations. He's a very, very, very mediocre support. Mediocre. I think he's saved from being C tier simply because he is still a lot of fun to play, and he does have some value being tanky, and the attack speed build definitely does hurt on him. However, it's just not enough. Ganesha, one of the best gods in the game. Right about here. Ganesha is one of the best gods in the game. Especially with the aspect in the game now, and even without the aspect, because of the type of characters we have in the game right now, just having a silence that you could just bust out at any point, while also having other items that can also silence you. So, and it makes him tanky, body block god, and the hardest hitting ult in the game that's on a criminally low cooldown. And even full support, if you get caught on that line, you are going to die. Die. Way too much fucking damage. And he's a lot of fun. So, and he's not only a really good support, but he's a really good solo laner. And he's a dumb jungler. He's just like Apollo. Yeah, no. He's dumb. Geb. Great Gebs. Great Gebs are probably going to be around A tier. Mad Gebs are probably going to be around B tier. The aspect is fun in solo and very okay in solo because you're going to be out clearing very, very quickly. And he does have a really great engaging CC immune ult and a shield that not only removes CC from somebody, but also gives him a health shield. The problem comes into play with his other ability, the rollout. That move is good, but it also takes too long to get into position to use it properly. And the knockup is finicky. Sometimes it just, I won't say it doesn't work, but it's so easily predictable because you can literally hear him rolling at you. So you can easily use your run move to get out of it. You can beads it early because it has such a huge telegraph, or you could just take the hit if you're the support, and it's not scary at all. The ultimate is scary, the knockup is kind of scary, and the shield is annoying. But now that Erosion got a buff and Mystic Bell got a buff, his overall shield game also got hurt. I think he's still definitely okay, but at the end of the day, just high B. Guan Yu, C tier. I'm gonna talk about it. Character sucks. Hades, S tier solo laner. Met everywhere else, so realistically speaking, he's more like right here. Hecate, I do not believe in this god at all. I don't believe in her. I think she's annoying, and I think godlike Hecates are annoying, but Hecate is one of those characters that takes I wouldn't say a lot of skill to use, but takes more than the average god, and it gets down to a point where like the only reason you're playing her is for the repositioning on the ults. Um and it's just I don't think the trade-off for how difficult she can be matches the value that you get out of her. Um right here. Heracles. Oh, I love this character. As a soul laner, he's booty. But as a jungler, he's kind of broke because you can't fight him back because he's just gonna combo you when you die. A tier, right about here. Right about here. Mulan, C tier. I don't. Unbots. Recently saw a nerf, and still I think it's pretty okay because he still has stuns and he still does a good amount of damage. The leap getting that weird nerf, I think. Weird nerf was kind of unwarranted, but Early game, he's kind of meh. Mid game, you can kind of see the vision. Late game, he's a nuisance. So, uh, uh, ah, ooh, right there. Izanami, down here. Down here. Down here. Jinwei, down here. No. Right here. Kali, stupid. Very stupid. Right here. Stupid. Khepri. Khepri's weird. Khepri hits insanely hard, and the change to his aspect basically made him to what Khepri needed to be in the first place. Because it does damage, and you literally don't lose anything by going the aspect version of him. You literally lose nothing going the aspect version of him, and you gain a damaging ability. Like the pull was nothing to begin with anyway. But he struggles early. He struggles so hard early. It's it's so bad how he struggles. I think he's kind of like in the same boat as Geb though. He's a little bit worse than Geb because he still does need the other person to kind of do stuff with him, unlike Geb who can kind of set everything up. Khepri is just eh. That ultimate's unfair, but he's just eh. But Gulkin, A tier, free. Gulkin is very strong, in my opinion, because he can just drop tornadoes, do a lot of damage, and never have to look in your face. And then he has one of the best get off me ults in the game because it's a knockup and does like 1200 damage. So you leap on him, he gets scared, he hits the funny button, and now you're half health. Or dead. Loki. Loki is one of those characters where, like, I don't want to admit that he's not all that because Loki as a character is fundamentally annoying, right? Because a character with an invis that can instantly be on your back with a massive slow and 2 forms of tick damage. Yeah, he's annoying. But his damage values aren't as high as they used to be. So even though he can still one-shot you, it still takes a little bit of time, giving you an opportunity to actually fight him back. Doesn't change the fact that he's annoying. And it doesn't change the fact that people who play Loki probably pour their milk in before the cereal. So I think Loki is a good pick. Probably top of B. I think he's really good if nobody else is available. Medusa, if you're on console or you play with controller, he's probably going to be like B tier to you. However, outside of that, Merlin, one of the better mages in the game, but his issue is that he takes a unlike Scylla, it takes a very long time to finally get him online. Actually no, I take that back. Unlike a typical late game mage, he kind of hits his late game at midpoint, but the late game is awkward for him because he still pumps out damage like a late game god. It just takes a little bit of time. But his value comes in the fact that he can throw stuff over walls unlike any other character and can constantly harass you with different abilities. The aspect version is kind of like the best version of him, in my opinion, in Conquest. Because the base version, yeah, you get the typical combos, but the other one, you can constantly keep switching stances, keeping the enemy team on their toes, and it's horrifying what he could pull out at one point. And because the aspect version gives him access to be able to use 2 of his abilities at the same time, like 2 of his ones, so Void 1 or Frost 1, or 2 of his 2s, like Void, like Fire 2 and Frost 2. The combination that you can get, and because you're going to be putting a point into only the 2, you could end up getting a max level ability by like level 9 or level 10. Sorry, you can get a max level ability by level 10 on both of your abilities, which is insane to think about because the amount of damage you can pull is crazy. So 18. His only issue is that he is very immobile, and he has no CC to be heard of unless he puts himself in a dangerous position. Mordred, Mordred is so good, but he sucks at the same time because his late game is horrible, but his early and mid game is oppressive. Mordred is basically what Thanatos used to be. He is untouchable early game. Untouchable early game. Late game, he sucks. He is not valuable at all late game. But early game, he is borderline untouchable. But once you hit that 30-minute mark, oh boy, this character is getting railed. Because of that, I had to give him B tier. More like right here. Not the same as Hunter's though, because Hunter's late game shred. Him, he sucks. But early game, yeah. Neith, stupid, but one of the best mages in the game. I don't know why I had to say that, but Neith is one of the best mages in the game. It is very, very unfair. You literally get hit by 1, 2, 3 and die. 1, 2, 3, dead. You hit your 1, you hit your 2, you hit your 3, dead. There's nothing they can do about it. So stupid. And a global ult on top of that does like 800 damage, which 800 damage isn't really like a lot, but 800 damage is a lot for an ult that can hit you from your Titan to their Titan. You know. Nemesis. I don't know how I feel about Nemesis. She got a buff a couple times, but she's still just Nemesis. The slow on the ultimate really isn't anything, but the lifesteal, but the protection shred is amazing. And the aspect version is kind of like a turnaround ult. So she's and if you don't have anything to deal with shields, she hurts. But if you do have something to deal with shields, she's not unviable. But Nemesis is also not an easy god to play either. She's not somebody you can just pick up and play because you have to manage the dashes and know when to use your 3 without it instantly getting shredded off of you. Which means you probably are gonna have to get used to just taking a first hit, and a lot of Nemesis players aren't gonna be used to that, or a lot of people are not gonna be used to that because out the jungle you're gonna be scared to take a hit. You want to make sure that you don't get hit at all so you can engage properly because you're a DPS, right? So they're not going to use their shield after getting hit. They're probably going to try to use it beforehand and then get CC'd out of it. But if you know how to manage it properly and you have that discipline, she can be very oppressive to play into. So I think Nemesis is really strong. I think she's up here in A. I think if you master her, she's viable. Nuwa, one of the worst mages in the game. Just meh. Odin, highly slept on. Highly slept on. Odin is stupid. His only counterplay is barrier. But he has a stim, an attack speed stim that he gives to all of his teammates that also reduces the cooldown of it by half, and it does a lot of damage. A self shield, a leap that does damage. The ultimate, even though you barrier it, will still hit you and slow you. And it's on a low cooldown. If he's playing properly, he's going to constantly be getting kills in the ultimate, and being able to clear with the best of them. And he has safety. Lots and lots of safety. Odin is slept on. I will die on this hill. He is good. Pele. Pele is strong right now. I think the aspect version of her is... the aspect version of her has been out for a while now, but I still don't know how I feel about it because the aspect version isn't bad. It's not the best though, but it gives her a crazy amount of sustain. But the other version of her also gives her sustain and damage, while this version of her gives her sustain tankiness. She fits really well into the lifesteal meta as well, and she's a really, really great solo laner. She's kind of okay out the jungle. She's just not as viable out the jungle, in my opinion. Yeah, right about here. I think that's fair. Slide in, bottom of B. He's not good, but he's not horrible because having a cripple on somebody and that huge ultimate is still great. But I think what would help this character is if you made his 2 have slow immunity. Right? Because I mean, lore wise, it's gonna sound nerdy as hell. Lore wise, how are you slowing down water? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you slowing him down? It literally makes no sense to me. So I think he should have, but the sun, fucking Raw, can have a slow immunity, but Poseidon, the character that is movement speed incarnate, can't have slow immunity. Come on now. Poseidon definitely deserves that, but if he gets that, he'd be a lot better. And I think they do need to buff his damage just a tad bit, just a minuscule bit, and he'll be viable. But right now, no, stop playing. Bari, I think she's bottom of S. I think she's bottom of S, especially after now that she doesn't have to slow on her ultimate anymore, which I'm not saying is like a huge part of her kit, but she's been constantly getting nerfed. However, doesn't change the fact that she is a mage with no mana bar doing 1,000,000 freaking damage. Princess Bari is up there. Raw. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Mm-mm-mm. Without Ring of Heke, he's right here. With Ring of Heke, he's more like right here. But Ring of Heke takes way too long to get online. The Ring of Heke build takes way too long to get online. So you had to deal with being a B to possibly a C tier character up until you get Ring of Heke, which is not going to be for like 20 minutes. So, no. Rama. I love Rama. I love Rama, especially the aspect. He gets out cleared too easy. The ultimate does make him kind of a sitting duck, but it can be used for stall. But the ultimate is really hard to hit unless you're on mouse and keyboard, and even then, it's still a skill shot ultimate. And you can hear it coming from a mile away. So you're going to be prepared to dodge anyway. And even though his clear is really strong, he's just not mobile enough and doing enough damage early enough to warrant playing him right now. I don't think he's trash like other people say he is because I see value in him. All he needs is to make the aspect give him a little bit more attack speed. The amount of attack speed they take away from him is kind of ridiculous. Give him a little bit more attack speed or give him more arrows to shoot. Like, instead of just 5, give him 7. That will make his early game a lot more smoother. And give him a little bit more attack speed to complement it. That way he's just not getting out cleared for free early. So, I think Rama isn't horrible. He's kind of like right here with these 3, Danza, Cupid, and Artemis. But I do think he is worth it if you master him. It's just, you're going to struggle. Scylla, again, one of the best mages in the game. Late game is unmatched. Silbeck, one of the best supports in the game. I think he's ban worthy. Unmatched. Soul, C tier. Better than Poseidon, better than Jingwei, better than Ra. Right about here. Susanoo, unless if you don't have him mastered, he is C or he is B. If you have him mastered and you know what you're doing, I think he's like right about here, like an S tier. Honestly, probably A, because it still takes a little bit. It still takes a lot of effort to play him. Thanatos, C tier, all the way down here, because even though these characters suck, he really sucks. The Morrigan. I've been seeing people put her at like S. She's one of those characters again that's really difficult to play. You're not just gonna pick up and play her, but if you master her, she's crazy. But Base Morgan is like B tier. Like Base Morgan is B tier. I think she's right there. Thor, I'm not gonna be biased. I want to put him in S, but he's not. He's A. Uller, again, he sucks. Vulcan. Oh my god. Vulcan is the weirdest top tier I have ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen a character have such a terrible matchup chart while also still being so good. Because he has AI that will auto clear the wave for him, especially if you go the regular turret, right? If you go regular turret, he's gonna out clear you. In a solo lane perspective, it's Troll, but you're not going to out-secure him on the totems. He has a knockup. He has 2 knockups at level 14. Insane amounts of damage. Has the option to turn the aspect on to make him a little bit tankier at the sacrifice of just a little bit of his damage, but his ultimate's still going to hit you for 1,000. So there's that. I don't think he's viable anywhere else other than just being a pure DPS, even out of solo lane. And unless you just want to troll and go super, super, super tanky. But even then, I think Vulcan's value is being a DPS with CC and being a slight bit tanky. So if you're going to run him as like a solo laner, I'd suggest going like a hybrid health tank build and just maybe like 1 or 2 cards of defense and then everything else damage. Because that's how Vulcan is going to carry his games out of solo. He's just going to be super unkillable with those turns down, sustaining a lot, and then killing you. Vulcan is slept on. I think he's A. I think if you don't want to play any of these other gods up in the A tier, you're going to play Vulcan, because Vulcan is strong. Yemoja. If you ain't got the sauce, she sucks. But if you got it, this character is annoying. Ymir. He's like dead middle. Because Ymir is very roll your face across the controller out of jungle because crit Ymir, and a pretty really good take because he has a stun. However, and the wall is crazy. The wall is actually insane. And why'd they give Ymir pseudo mobility? The weirdest thing ever. But the ultimate, even though it's one of the hardest hitting ultimates in the game, it's really easy to avoid, but you don't really use it for the damage. You use it for the slow, but most people are going to build Stampede, so you can't really use it for that. You just got to use it for the damage. The stun is good, but good players are going to wait for you to use your stun and then tear you apart. Finally, Zeus. The OG Smite God. The Smite God. A tier. Probably right about here. Here's my reasoning. At first, I didn't really believe in Zeus like that. However, his early game pressure is kind of scary. And he does so much damage all throughout the game. Unlike any other mage, in my opinion, whose damage is consistently high throughout the entire game. His only issue is that he's immobile. But if you know how to play him right and you know how to be aggressive while also clearing, Zeus is horrifying to play into. Because he's going to kill you and one-shot you and take at least one person out the game with him, if not 2 people. Right? And, not being able to miss your highest damaging ability, But this is my OB12 tier list. This is going to be subject to change. I'm still kind of testing some things out, but I think that this is probably a really good spot to have everybody at right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all take care.